Hey, hey everybody. How are you? How are you? Welcome to Ambassador Digital Magazine Live. I'm your host. I'm Musa Jackson, and good to be back. Good to be here on today. It's a great show coming up. Really excited about it. Have a really good friend of mine. She's super sweet. Amazing woman. If you're in the fashion industry, she's a name that you've admired, you've heard, you've seen her work. You're gonna see more of her work tonight. So I'm really excited to bring her on, and she's gorgeous. On top of it, can't lose. So like we always do, we always sort of start out with just what's happening and what's going on, and I try not to get into too much politics. Hey, what's up, Kevin? Kevin, the great Kevin McQueen, lecturer. I see. Oh my God, hey. So family's starting to pop up. This is really nice. The politics thing, something I always touch on. But more importantly, right now, let's just send our prayers out to Texas. My father is from Texas. I have plenty of family in Texas, and I happen to have been in Texas. Ironically, I was in Houston a little over a week ago. And so, just there was beautiful. And then look at what happened. Mother Nature, came through and was wreaking havoc on the state of Texas. But more importantly, many families and just the state of Texas is without power, which is just unheard of. And all that was done pretty much by design in regards to how things go down in the state of Texas. And of course, the despicable, here we are seeing, sub-degree temperatures in Texas. We talk about climate change, warming, global warming, all those things that was, we don't even talk about the past administration called the damn hoax. Wish he was somewhere in somebody's, somewhere. You know what I mean? You know what I could say, because y'all know me. The Harlem ambassador keeps it 100. So I'll just keep what's in my head. So I could say a few things, but look at this. This is inside a facility, someone's home. So let's keep them in our prayers. Ted Cruz is off in friggin' Mexico with his family. Bastard. I said it live. It's my show. I can say that. This isn't Vogue. This is Ambassador Digital Magazine. So we keep it 100. But we're with the people of Texas, real to real. We're with you as best we can. This is a good friend of mine whose family is from Houston. Aisha, she wrote this, and I'm going to read it. This is a good time to note that the electrical grid in Texas was deregulated, privatized, and removed from interconnected networks to avoid federal regulation and increase profits to a small number of wealthy individuals. So as they're freezing to death, just so that you understand this, a number of wealthy individuals who are controlling the situation are getting rich. Okay? So once again, I know God has you. I believe God has you. I always believe in God. I believe in the power beyond evil. We live in times where, that seems to be, good and evil always rears its head. This right now, there's nothing good here. Okay. Keeping it 100. Could you imagine if New York were going through this? They'd have that thing fixed. And y'all know that. Okay. So I'm blessed to know I'm in the greatest city in the world. So being from Harlem, being from the greatest city of the world, being from the soul of the city, which is Harlem, and being a son of a Texan. My father was born there. My grandmother was born there. Her grandparents were born there. I got something to say. We're with you. We pray for you. We back you. You know, and get them out of the, you know, Senate and, you know, change things. This can't keep going on. So I said what I had to say. This also happened to be the end, I think yesterday or today was the end of Fashion Week. And some really great designers. I'm happy to see so many Black designers, people of color getting opportunities. The CFDA did something really great, Runway 360. So they were showing a lot of different designers virtually. Some of them I don't know, some of them I'm getting to know, be working with a couple. They're going to be working with Ambassador Digital Magazine. But a very dear friend of mine, as a matter of fact, was one of his first models when he started back in the day, in the early 80s, Epperson. I'm so glad that he has getting the recognition he deserves. He gave an incredible showing. Incredible. He's a genius designer. And you can see right there, that was shot by the great Mark Baptiste. Both of them have been honored with covers at Ambassador Digital Magazine. And so I'm just glad to see him getting the honors, getting him all the flowers that he so rightfully deserves. And also, a good friend of mine wrote a book, Anita Kopax. I hear you, girl. She was a former editor-in-chief of Heart and Soul. She got a beautiful sister, Ivana Kopax, brother-in-law, Brett Wright, who ran Uptown Magazine, co-founded Uptown Magazine, but on her own right, she wrote an amazing book, which is knocking them out, called Shallow Waters. And that will be coming out in August, but they released the cover, Charlemagne the God. It's on his imprint. And he released the cover. I think he had a show, and she'll be coming. They'll be coming. She's coming. Beautiful woman, amazing spiritual, vibrant soul. And this book is nonfiction. It's I'm sorry, excuse me. It is fiction. Excuse me. It's fiction. It's science fiction. I think it's got supernatural elements to it. Some historical references. You know, all blackness. All the stuff we love, juicy, she's smart as hell. I can't wait to get my copy. I'm pre-ordering now. You can pre-order Shallow Waters, a novel, on Amazon.com. Okay. And one last thing, I know I mentioned her when she passed away, but Harlem said their final goodbyes to the great Cicely Tyson, a Harlemite. And also Johnny Pacheco, who was the co-founder, pretty much one of the leading pioneers in salsa music, brought it here. He gave us Celia Cruz and Hector Lavoe and Ruben Blades, all those great salsa people with Fania Records passed away. I always got to give a shout out to my brothers and sisters. I grew up in Harlem, raised in Spanish Harlem, so I grew up around the music. I listened. It was the sound, Laura Motown. Okay, the salsa beat was the sound of my life because literally my neighbor played salsa music 24/7. Okay, growing up. So even we didn't want to hear. We'd be like this, going to the bathroom. Anyway, and the great Mary Wilson, also we know she passed away too. So we've had, this month has, we've lost a few amazing people during Black History Month. So, but anyway, with that said, we now get the opportunity I get the opportunity to honor someone who I love dearly, We've become very close, and she is amazing. And she was born here in Harlem. She's a Harlem girl. Okay, keep it at 100, right up there at 100 and 130s. So that's Harlem, honey. But she would go from there. She would leave and go and make her mark in the world. She would go off to places like Italy and Paris, where she would become one of the great makeup artists of our time, beating faces and gracing covers, doing covers. Women like Naomi Campbell, Zoe Kravitz, Oprah Winfrey, Misty Copeland, to name a few. Also working on different magazines from Marie Claire to Elle to Vogue, and working for amazing ad campaigns like Batman, DKNY, Givenchy. And also working under the great Pat McGrath, as well as just helping pioneer this industry, and one of the few amazing Black women to really, really keep it real and to really make a mark in the fashion industry. I am more than honored to welcome my dear friend, the amazing Renee Garnes. How about that? Here you are, my love.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
What a great intro.
You know, I'm known for my intros. I'm good. You look beautiful.
Yeah, I see. I'm flattered. Indeed, let me tell you.
I know you're like, I know you so well. Look at that smile. I think we could spend time just on the glow and the beauty. I want to say something before we even get started, guys. And then we're gonna get into Renee. But when I started, I thought about Ambassador Digital Magazine, working on different magazines, producing magazines, as people know, as a contributing editor, Spirit and Flesh and Uptown and yada, 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 right? People are like, oh, you should do your own thing. And I was like, yeah, okay, but I have an idea. And I said, I'm gonna do a magazine. And this was about 3 or 4 years ago. And we were at Brenton's, right?
Yes.
And you were there, Deborah Shaw, and it was the three of us. We were like, you know how we would get in the corner. Brenton has the best parties.
Was there too. Alexa was there. Tony Jones.
Who was? Well, we know Tony. Yeah, Tony was there. Electra was there, but I think. But did I tell? Okay. I do remember. Okay, that's always there. So
it was me and Deborah you were talking to.
That I was talking to.
It was Deborah and I.
Right. So
you shared with us.
Right. Like everybody was there. Lectra, Tony. You know, we all eating our. Dancing, drinking, eating the best. Angela, we're all there. Tammy.
Dancing.
I had you two in the corner. I was kind of like, hey guys, I have an idea. And so I talked to you and I talked to Deborah. And I said, I'm going to do a magazine. And then on top of it, I said to you, and I want you on the cover. And that shocked you.
You did say.
I said that, right?
It did. Yeah.
I said, I have you on the cover. You're like, me on the cover? I was like, girl, look at them cheekbones. Look at that nose. Look at them lips. You know, now it's all about flattery right now. Them boobs. The body, boo. I was in. So, I mean, and we talked about that. So here we are. That's called manifestation. I want to just bring that up to people because
manifestation, totally.
Yeah. I just want people to know that, you know, this happened a few years with manifesting something, even in a pandemic. So once again, God is in control, right? Deborah, you remember? Yes. And I see all you guys on. Yes. And we're going to say hi to everybody My beautiful sister Renee, you look gorgeous. So proud of you, Julie Ziegler.
Hi.
Isn't that funny? I love this. Your friends are here.
Yes, I love Julie.
Brinton! We just talked about you. I'm gonna get Brinton on the cover. Susan!
Susan! Hey, Susan!
Woo! Oh, we always believed in you. Thank you. So listen, okay, we're gonna say hi, but let's talk about, they didn't come here for me, honey. They came here for you. I came here for you. So listen, let's talk about you, sweetie. Talk about what it was like growing up in Harlem. I don't know if a lot of people know that. Even as a little girl, at least.
Oh, Harlem was, oh my God, Harlem was tough at that time. Yeah, it was a tough time. It was drug infested. It was nothing like it is right now. Regentified. It was really, yeah, it was very, very tough time growing up in Harlem at that time. You know, it was the age of heroin, crack, and all that other stuff. And it was really hard to swim through that without being affected by it, through family members, even through myself. You know, it was a tough time, but we persevered and we moved past it and moved forward.
Right. But what the beautiful thing is, which we both had, was we both had, at least we had people that, you know, I had certain influencers and people that saw what I had, and I could look to those people. And one of those people that you mentioned to me was your beautiful aunt. There she is, Dorothy Schaefer. Tell us about Dorothy.
Oh yeah, my auntie. Dorothy. My aunt Dorothy, my mom, my uncle David, David Garnes. I mean, it was a whole, you know, it takes a village to raise children, and back then and today as well. And they all had a hand, and my mom especially, she had a big hand in making me, you know, finish school and get an education. She said, once you have an education, you can move around the world. And so that's what I did. She made me finish school. I was a high school dropout. So I was out carrying on with my friends, smoking weed and stuff, but she made me go back and get my equivalency. And then I went to college. So, you know, it wasn't like, oh, you know, it wasn't a fairy tale for me, but I worked hard to get to where I am today.
Right. But then you're Dorothy Schaefer, right? And we talk about Dorothy Schaefer and talk about your uncle, your mom. They were inspiring you, because wasn't Dorothy in the fashion industry back then?
My aunt was a buyer for this defunct, it's now defunct, this department store, but she was the first Black buyer for this at the time. For this, actually, it was no Black buyers at the time, and so she was the first Black buyer for a department store here in New York City. And she was a snazzy dresser. She had a lot of panache. She was eloquent and elegant, and I was very proud of her, and I admired her when I was younger, and I would look up to her because she had her furs and she had her diamonds and she had the men. And I was fabulous, you know. I wanted that. And then my uncle, my aunt was married to my mother's brother, and he was a merchant seaman. He traveled all around the world, to China, to Hong Kong, to, oh my God, to Europe. He was everywhere. Everywhere I turned to, he was like, I'm going somewhere. And I love that aspect of his life. And I wanted to emulate that. So the two of them were big influences upon my life.
Well, listen, you big influences. And then on top of it, let's keep it 100. You're tall, you're beautiful. Okay, and leggy, all them like there she is, beautiful. How beautiful is
That's
she?
my auntie. That was her 90th birthday, which was, yeah, she just passed away this year, actually. Well, no, last year. It was was it last year? Yeah, she passed away, and you know, it was a heavy time for all of us. But you know, I have fond memories of my aunt. She was an amazing woman and so funny. This woman was laughing, I think, until the day she died. She and my uncle both. They both had a great sense of humor. My uncle was on his deathbed and he still was cracking jokes. He wasn't like, woe is me. He was very like, you know, I'm on my way out, but what the hell, let's have some fun. You know, like it was things like that. And I love that. And I'm quite sure that I'm going to be the same way when I'm on my way out. So it was
beautiful.
always a party. If you look at any of my posts from Facebook of my aunt at her 90th birthday party, she still was getting down, honey. She was still trying to, you know, pop it and do. And then she said to me, I was doing her makeup, and she said, excuse the word, but she said, who that found an IGGA right there? And I was like, he was hot. And she's like, who that mofo right there? I like him. I said,
Right.
I'm going to be just like you when I grow up. I'm going to be just like you.
We all want to be like you, Auntie, when we grow up. Okay.
Yeah, Auntie was, she was a hot number. And when she was younger, she was really hot. Oh my God, I loved her. I loved everything about, and she was an Aries like me. So that made me love her even more. Yeah, she was really, she was one of the best.
Speaking of hottie.
What?
Speaking of hottie, boo, we got to show something. Now you did model. You model, even if it was short-lived. You had that moment.
I didn't like it.
I know you didn't like it. But Paul, come on, give us something. She's talking about what she didn't like, and she had legs and the cheekbone, right? But you know what? I get it. It's either something that you like or you don't. But it was still offered, or at least it came your way. You know what I mean?
It did.
Look at that. Look at that.
I was all the time.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Body down.
Half my size.
And you're in a
Douglas Says. That was in the Douglas Says.
Original. Yeah. That's a classic Douglas Says. I could tell. We'll get him on.
Right?
Fabulous. Yeah. So many beautiful. There was some other beautiful photos that you share with me of that time. And so here you are. So now you're modeling, right? What sort of, you know, did you go from here to Europe to model? How did that happen?
Yeah. Well, what happened was I had a friend of mine that was a photographer, and I went to visit him in Vienna, Austria, and we, you know, I worked there a little bit too. You know, I was sort of like a B model. I'm not going to say I was Naomi Campbell or Deborah Shaw, but I did some things, you know. And so I was there doing some work, and we were rollerblading on the Danube, and I hurt my leg rollerblading. I tore my meniscus in my knee. And so you know, I couldn't do anything. I was on crutches. I was in a brace and all of this. And so he had, he asked me, he said, Renee, why don't you do makeup? Because I didn't have any money. You know, when you're a young person and young model, you know, funds are limited. And I was over there on a women employed prayer. And so he said, why don't you do makeup? He says, you know, he did some reportage photography for the newspaper there. And so I said, sure, I'll do it. Sure. And so I went to the, anybody remembers the Body Shop, and I went and got some brushes and some makeup, and I did makeup and hair at the time. And so I started doing models, you know, like, you know, it was models that were selling like items in the local store or something like that, but they needed BTS, you know, film, pictures. And so I did that, and that's how it basically started.
Wow. So now you're out there, you're doing makeup. Did you catch the bug to do makeup? Is that what happened? Sort of wanting to do makeup?
Well, to be quite honest with you, I did it to make a few dollars while I was incapacitated, because I barely could walk, but I was able to sit down and do people's makeup. And it was actually one of the most fun times in my life because my friends literally took care of me. I didn't have a dime. I was making a little dollars here and there, doing the makeup for these little B models and stuff. But these guys literally took care of me. They were really sweet. We would go out party every night, even with my crutches. I had another friend. I was doing a little singing in his studio. We would go out in the countryside, and it was the most fun time in my life. I have to say, I have very fond memories of that time. It's so funny when you don't have money, and people worry about that sometimes, but you can still have an amazing time if you're with the right group of people.
True. And especially back then. We were very creative back then. We could stretch the dollar.
This was like,
right? Clubs were hot. We found something to do, baby, back in those days. But you did take the makeup bug or whatever, making a few dollars from it, and then make a bit of a transition, right? From that to actually doing fashion.
I did.
Talk about the leap into fashion, into real fashion.
Well, it didn't go right quite like that. I went when I came back and I was healed somewhat. I went back. I was living in Miami at the time, so I went back to Miami and I started doing hair and makeup tests. And also I worked. Yes, I was with me working in Burdines in South Miami, and my Douglas come to visit me when I was working there.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I was moonlighting, yes. So I was doing that and doing some tests, and it just started from that. Then I went and I met Vincent. I got a call from my friend Rudy Sotomayor, and he said Vincent is looking for someone to represent his line in Barney's. And I was moving back to New York. Yeah, Vincent Longo. And so I decided, to move back to New York because Miami, I was sick of it. It was lovely, but I had to get out of there. And so I missed this change of seasons, and it was but so much you could do in the hot weather down there. So I went to New York, and it was the best thing in my life. I went and I started working with Vincent and launched a line in Barney's, and it was he really pushed me because a lot of the people there didn't want me because at the time it was like more, I have to say it, more white models. White representatives, they wanted that. So they really didn't want me. But once I got in there and I showed them what I can do, they didn't want me to leave because they closed the store, but they moved back up to, uptown to 60-something Street. And they wanted me to stay, but I moved on to Warren Chacomey and worked there for a couple of years.
Right. Now, Warren Chacomey, which is on 57th Street at the time,
yes.
That was a spot. And I guess from there, you were able to... That was a spot.
It was popping at the time. I met Idris Nichols. Oh, my God.
I love you.
Sam Fine.
Sam.
Sam was doing, he sometimes would show up and do little demos, and I used to watch earnestly. I learned how to pick up some hair tricks while I was there. So I would stay for classes to do hair. So if I wanted, if I had to do hair and makeup, I knew a little bit what to do. And then also I was getting write-ups doing eyebrows and makeup, bridal makeup, and Vogue and other editorials. So it was a good time for me.
Beautiful. So you stayed there for a couple of years and then got an offer. You got an offer to what? To fly to go to Italy, to move to Italy?
Well, yes, I went to a friend of mine when I was living in Vienna. I had made some really good friends there, and a photographer invited me to come there for a job. So I took, a week or so off from my job at Warren Chacomey, and I went back to Austria to do this job with a photographer friend of mine named Paul. And then, and while I was there, I got a call from Vincent. He says, listen, while you're over there, why don't you go to Italy and meet with my friend Roberto? He has an agency over there, and he's looking for an artist from New York to train. He said, but he didn't want to train someone from the ground up. He wanted to, have someone that already had experience. And so I said, okay, this would be a great opportunity for me. So I went to visit him while I was in Europe, And in the process, you know, I accepted the position. So I tentatively moved to Italy for 3 months just to see if I liked it. And I stayed, and that's how my career really started. I stayed longer than the 3 months, and you know, because people were telling me that you had to stay longer in order for people to work. They didn't care what you did in New York. You know, the
Right.
thing is that they cared how it works in Italy or in Europe abroad. You can do all the amazing things here in America, but if you haven't worked with their people over there, it's like you don't exist. So when I moved over there, I had to basically start from the bottom, and move up. And that's what I did. And it didn't matter who I worked with here in New York. It was just I had to establish relationships there, and that's what I did.
Wonderful. And so now you're working in Europe, establishing those relationships, right? Yeah. And you had a new agency.
I was a lot. Pardon me?
No, you were talking about, because you were at one agency, then you moved to Face to Face. Is that correct? Is that where?
Yeah, I left Renault's agency. It just wasn't working out. And so I went with this agency called Face to Face. I don't know if anyone know what's his name? Flavio Glaviano. But Flavio Glaviano had a daughter that she still is one of the the key director of Face to Face agency. And so I went here, and she took me in, and then that's how I started working. And I was doing all these covers for Marie Claire, Italian Marie Claire with Renee Garnes. And then also I also met Pat McGrath, I think in the year 1999 or no, 2000. And then it just worked from there.
Right. So talk about that. If you're on here, then you probably, if you're watching us right now, take a moment to say hi to a few people. I see you, Epperson. Good to see you. Great show. There's Julie, Sean, Avia, Courtney. I see you, Tiffany.
Avia.
A lot of people, but and we're, Michelle. I see you, Spiro. Lionel says hi. But
hi.
Let's just take a moment just to kind of give props, flowers, whatever, in your story of knowing her, working with her, to the great Pat McGrath. So for people that are on here, you do.
She's we still have. Oh, she's amazing, and we used to have the most amazing times giggling and working, and I grew to love her so much. She's really a great lady. Was a great influence in my life. Yeah, I adore her, and she's a great lady, and I'm so happy and proud of all her successes.
Yeah. So what was it like working with her? You worked with her. You starting in about, you said, the end of '99 into the 2000s, the next decade.
It was actually, the year started in 2000, because I remember we were doing a Amani show. I think it was Amani, yes. And it was the year, I think I had like one of my first two covers, one for Donna magazine and another one for Marie Claire. And I was so excited. And then September 11th happened. So it was a really weird time. And I was living in Italy at the time. And yeah, but working with Pat was amazing. We just, because there wasn't too many Black people there that worked in that environment. It was just me, and I recall Greg Brockington. And it was just so nice to see, people that look like you in an industry that don't have too many of us. And then, so most of the times when you see a person that look like you gravitate towards them. I think in any nationality or group of people. So, that's how I met Deborah. I met Deborah at one of the shows, and we became very close. We're like sisters today because of that. But yes, it was a very interesting time, but also a great time. I wouldn't change it for the world. I learned so much. I think I matured a lot from that time and from those experiences in life works, and also as an artistry. And and it made me appreciate the arts of the European culture, but also appreciate my own American culture as well. And it was a great time, and I'm so happy I had someone like Pat, because for me, she was great. We had an amazing time, and I got along very well with her. We laughed almost all the time. We ate all the time. We were both eating. We used to eat. We'd be meeting each other at where they have little snacks and stuff. She's like, "Girl, did you try this?" And I'm like, "Oh, girl, let me go try." And then we'd be giggling and stuff. So it was a fun time. It was a fun time, and as well as learning and executing some of the most amazing jobs. I worked on some amazing projects with her, flew all around the world with her. We, doing Tom Ford when he worked for Gucci, and also for YSL. I mean, it was just a terrific time, and doing all the shows in Paris and then New York, then going to China and this and that. I mean, we traveled the world.
Right. Beautiful. Shout out to supermodel Deborah Shaw. And also,
hey, Deb.
Hey, Deb. We see you.
And Greg Rockington, if he's around. Greg,
we
sometimes sit by each other, and we would sit by each other and be like, "Hey, boo," So we would execute, when we would do the shows, we would execute looks together and stuff. It was fun.
Good times. Good times. There you are, two of you together. And also, you were married at the time. You had a husband.
Oh, yes, my husband. He called me tonight. I had to call him later because I had paperwork and stuff. He's a good guy. Okay. My ex, Joanne, he was the reason why I stayed in Paris as long as I did.
Okay. Well, my ex-wife's on here. See you, Crystal. So, so listen, so let's talk about, Pat, you work with Pat, but now you're set off. You also introduced you to someone who you be a great friend and work with quite often, the legendary Naomi Campbell, iconic Naomi Campbell.
Oh, yes. I should have sent you the first editorial we worked on. It was for a cover for French Elle, and we were in Morocco. Yes, that was the first time we worked together. And then it's just on and off. It's been years of collaborations and working together, and it was very interesting times with Miss Campbell.
And Deborah said your famous fried chicken dinners in Italy.
Yes, remember that, Deb?
Did you cook the fried chicken?
Oh my God.
Who cooked the fried chicken?
Always. I was weaving whatever it took.
Even hair.
We would have fried chicken parties, and
oh,
we would have fried chicken parties, and we would have soul food nights. And I think Deborah said that was the reason why I love to come to Italy, because me and another friend, Lamar Bladen, we would always have these crazy parties and be drinking and smoking. It was a fun time. Let me tell you, it was like crazy. We used to party and stuff. We would go to bed until like 4 or 5 in the morning. But anybody that knows Italy, you can do that there, because that's all they do is party. Besides, but they get work done. Don't get twisted. But it's a party town. It's when you in Milan during Fashion Week. But those times when it wasn't Fashion Week, we would sometimes, if we weren't, like we had downtime and wasn't working on editorials and stuff, we would have to, entertain ourselves, and that's what we did.
Right.
And we would bring the party, to a lot, some of them, and it would be a lot of expats. It would be people from Amsterdam, people from Germany, people from here. We would all because we were all foreigners in Italy, so we would all gravitate together and have a good time. It was some wild times, I have to tell you.
No, and most of the people on here know that experience. I can just look. I can see who our audience. I'm looking at y'all, and it's the best. It is the best. Sometimes
amazing.
Because you're beautiful.
Deb would come over all the time
Yeah.
and stay, and she used to say, and Deborah would tell me, she said, "Oh my God, Renee, I'm so glad you're here." She said, "It makes my time here so much easier." She said, because she would come to Italy and leave, because it wasn't a place, especially for a lot of Black folks. I mean, it was good, but it was a little hard. And I remember walking down the street and people would stare at me like, like, oh my God. Now they don't do that, but
Mhm.
before it was very few Blacks walking around, and
Right.
I would get stared at until one time Idris came to visit me.
Mhm.
Idris Nichols came to visit me, and Idris is very androgynous and fluid in her dressing. And honey, I was so glad they looked at her more than me. I was like, she said, "How the hell can you live here, girl?" I said, "Hey, I'm just here, trying to make some moves." And she said, "Girl, I'm getting the hell out of here." But Idris, she was fierce, but they weren't ready for her. They weren't
No,
ready. A Black
ready.
girl dressing all that, but very funky. She had a really kind of Grace Jones, strong,
Mhm.
kind of aesthetic. So they weren't ready for that. Yeah.
Right.
And
Well,
very
well,
sure of herself. One thing,
right now,
huh?
just a few. Right now, we're showing just a few. I want to say few guys of her covers. They're all phenomenal. But just working with people like Misty, Oprah, obviously Naomi, and you know,
Correction. It wasn't Oprah. I didn't work with Oprah. I took a picture with her.
okay,
I didn't have the pleasure, but I was worked with Renee, the lady on the left. They did a movie called
got it.
the about Henrietta Slacks, and they did the movie, and Renee played her mother back then when about Henrietta Slacks. So that's what that was about.
Got it. Got it. But you did work with, I saw Chanel Iman as well as Sharon. Oh, talk
Oh
about
yeah,
Sharon. What about Sharon Stone? There was a good story with her.
Sharon was
Because I
Sharon
know
was
she's crazy
amazing.
fun. She's crazy fun. I've met her.
You know what? She's a Pisces like you, so y'all could be special. But it's so funny. She picked me out of all the people from my agency to work
Mm,
with me, and my agent at the time was trying to push another artist, and she said, "No, I want Renee, and if I don't have Renee, then I don't want to work with your agency." So they reluctantly sent me, which I didn't understand that. And she asked me, she says, "Why are you with this agency that doesn't believe in you?" And I didn't
mm,
really have an answer for that, because I didn't know anything about it until she told me at dinner that night when I arrived. We were in Tahiti in Polynesia, and that's where the job was held. And so she says, "So Renee," she looked at me and she said, "Renee, so tell me about yourself." And she gave me this look like this, and I said to her, I says, "Well, what do you want to know?" And
mhm.
as we kind of laughed and hit it off, and it was really a great trip. We had an amazing time.
Yeah. Wow. And
I think
sometimes
she's
you
a
need.
great woman.
Mhm.
She's a great woman, and it was a wonderful experience. It was my first time to Tahiti, and if anyone hasn't been, it's the most magical place you ever want to visit, and the
Wow.
people
Another.
were wonderful.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but another one that you work with right here, Chanel Iman. You guys have worked
Oh,
together
now,
a few times.
for many years, I did her wedding. I did so many things with Chanel. I've known Chanel since she was like, I know, 15, and when she was being chaperoned by her mom, China. So Chanel and I go way back, and I adore her. And now she's married with 2 kids, and she's a young mom, and she's doing her thing. I love it.
I love it too. It's always beautiful when you see, like I think we all got to see her grow up in front of the camera,
Oh,
you know, right? And then morph into this mom. And this is a beautiful cover of Janet Mock. You've worked with her on several
oh,
occasions.
and amazing, most amazing woman. Another Pisces. You Pisces be turning.
Janet, if
Yeah,
you're watching,
she's a Pisces. Yeah, she's amazing. Amazing, very intelligent, very well spoken, also a
Mm,
lot of fun, and incredibly beautiful.
yes. So beautiful. Oh my God. And I love what I see, what I've noticed, especially with you, is there's Adriana Lima. You've worked with her on several occasions.
Yes, I love her. That's another one that I've known since I've known Adriana when she first started, and she was about 15 as well. She barely spoke any English.
Wow.
We were doing. That's when Monsieur Valentino was doing Valentino. This is how way back we go.
Wow. Yeah. And you've worked with incredible.
It was like back in the early 2000s when Mr. Valentino was designing, and we did the last show in Rome. But I remember I even did Adriana's makeup a few times for the show. It was always epic when Mr. Valentino was at the helm of his own namesake.
Question for you. You do magazines, you do it all. You do the ad campaigns. I'm talking about Mad. You're doing, you've done Givenchy and all those some of those great ads. And then you also work the shows. What do you prefer? I've never asked a makeup artist that. What do you guys prefer? You like working backstage with all the crazy?
You know, at the time I was younger and I enjoyed it. It was very hectic. Mm-hmm. It was a hectic time, but it was a great time to learn. I learned a lot. I learned a lot when I was doing the shows because I learned from some masters like Lloyd Simmons, another named Kathy Ann McAllister, another great makeup artist with some super talented people on Pat's team, and they were all great artists in their own right. And so it was a great time to be amongst amongst my peers. Well, actually, they were all kind of mentors because I was young in the business. However, it was a great time. I actually like what I'm doing now, where I'm my own boss, and I do, I get called to do jobs for that require my expertise and my skills. And so yes, I prefer what I'm doing now as opposed to doing all the shows, because I lost so much traveling. Going from Pat would have like 10 shows a day sometimes, and so you're going from this one and that one, and you wind up. I remember I lost a whole kit one time where someone stole my whole kit, so I had to go all and buy everything again, and that was exhausting. So no, I don't miss it. But it was a wonderful time. It was a wonderful time.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You also mentioned something about the industry had shifted and changed, because when you guys write with Alec in terms of just the range of beauty, the range of, because you're dealing with skin tone. So it's not just being Black, it's skin tone and what's available makeup wise. And I think when Alec and it was introduced on the scene, even as a Black person, they didn't have her skin tone.
No,
and they
didn't.
Right. That's interesting to me.
Well, I think Mac at the time made a foundation exclusively for her, but then afterwards they didn't. It discontinued it for what reason I don't know. And I remember at the time it was her skin tone perfectly, but overall no one else, none of the brands now, they do have foundations for women of color, but before they didn't when I was doing it. So we basically would have to mix and match to make the colors work. Yeah.
Okay, this is a good question. And
I remember when we did. Okay. I remember we did a show for Victor and Rolf, and when they did the test, because when you're doing big shows like that, you have to do a test with the collaboration of the designer and the makeup and hair key, which was Pat, and sometimes I think it would be what's his name, Orlando, or it would be oh God, Eugene or whatever. Anyway, so a lot of times, they would do the test. And so we would have to, test the look. And I remember it was this one time they didn't realize they had like 15 Black girls in the show. And at that moment, and Pat was like, "Oh my God, what are we gonna do?" So, and I was the only one that was doing all the black girls at the time. Greg, I think Greg was there, but I think he left and went back to the States. Anyway, so I remember I had to really make up on the spot a look that was cohesive with the white counterparts of models that looked great for the show. And I don't know how I did it, but we executed it, and all the girls, Miss Victor and Ruff loved what we did, and it was a success. But it was a really challenging time at the time. We had to do it on the spot.
But that's called you're good. That's why you're good. That's why you were there. You know what I mean? You didn't want somebody like
Pat would have me all the time. Yeah, she did. She did. And a lot of the kids learned from me, whether they want to admit it or not, but they did. And so, you know, which was, you know, that's how some of the kids now know how to do black girls and execute it really well. And then they put their own spin on it. Because, you know, once you learn something from someone, then you can put your own spin on things. But you know, I can say that a lot of people, I influenced a lot of people as well.
Yeah. What do you carry in your makeup kit? Someone just asked that. What do you carry? What makeup products do you swear by? That's probably a big. Well, what can you say?
I definitely have some Laura in there. I also have Laura, Bobby, definitely. Those are some of my go-tos. And now Pat sent me a whole bunch of stuff. So I love her stuff as well. Her foundations and are amazing, and lip colors and stuff. So I really love that. And my friend, I have a couple of brands. I love Cosette Beauty. My friend Rocky, he was also one of Pat's main people, and we're really close. And he sends me some of his things. And I have some Danessa Myricks, which I adore. I love her stuff as well. So I have a little bit of everything. Some YSL, some NARS. NARS was a big supporter as well. So I have a few things. Okay. And maybe not so many unknown brands like RCMA. I love that too. So it's a couple of different things that I like.
Okay. Everybody's saying hi to you right now. So just
hi. I don't see anyone. I just see you.
I
don't see everyone.
You don't see any. Okay. Greg just said, "What's up?" He just said, "Thanks for the shout out." Gianni said, "What's up?"
Oh, I love Greg. That's my baby. Hey, Greg. I love you.
I know. You guys go back, and Denise also was saying stuff. So, Denise, Jimenez was saying the same, saying, "What's up?" Tell my friend hi. But one of the things, and Julie Ziegler, one of the things when we wanted to do your photo shoot, and we were talking about this, remember, is that, so since she beats so many faces and she has this incredible body, y'all, she's like a bombshell of many different eras. And we said, look at your face, honey. Look at you. You know where we're going, right? And so,
God, please.
So we gathered together. It was so much fun. We gathered together a great team of people that really wanted to support Renee and do a really nice cover, really nice editorial with her, and just showing different looks that she really liked. So she loves the 50s, the 60s, or let's say the 70s. With we did the 70s, we did the 80s.
All that era. I love everything. I love everything.
I
like everything from the 20s. I love the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, but we didn't have time to do all that because I was doing makeup for all those looks. That was hard. That wasn't an easy feat, as you well know. We were there until 3 a.m. shooting.
Yeah, we were there.
And my face was burnt. I have a new respect for all the models out there because my face was burning after all the taking on the makeup and taking it off and putting it back on. Oh, but a special shout out to Susan and to my baby Chucky. When I asked them to do this for me, they were sick. They were just like, "Are you kidding? I would not." It's such a great opportunity. Stephanie, who assisted Susan, my girl Daria, she came through for the nails. I mean, it was a group effort. It's a village, and I was. Oh, and Roberto, of course, I can't forget Roberto, who I love. He does, anybody wants some beautiful headshots. Garen just used him for some stuff. Garen, Fab Garen, the hairstylist. So he's an amazing photographer. Anybody wants to do some beautiful stuff, call him. His name is Roberto Ligresti. I've known Roberto for many years, and he knows how to make anybody, black, white, green, purple, look fantastic.
And then there's Courtney. Thank you for helping me out and doing it behind the scenes as well.
Courtney, I love you,
Yeah.
boo.
She said, I love you, boo. Okay, listen. So here we are. Here we are. This is where we do the cover. Okay, you were different. Because you did you get, I think, she gets 2 covers, right, Paul? She gets 2.
Oh, I do?
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. You had to get 2. You were morphing so many people. You were morphing 100 people. Every time you did a look, it was like you looked like somebody else.
I was exhausted. I was exhausted, but it was a fun time. Wow. Oh my God. Wow, that looks fantastic.
So that was your 80s look.
Yes, we were channeling Vanity.
Vanity, 80s. She wanted to do Vanity. She wanted to do Dynasty and a few other things. So we mixed it, and then she just said, give me hair on hair on hair. So and then the face, her face, forget about it. There she is. And she did the makeup on her face. So this was just like kapow. Give us rah.
Oh, thank you. This is lovely. I can't wait to post that.
So that's one look. And now I'm telling you, this woman right here, Renee, we said after this shoot, because she's tall, she's but the body, full figure, right? The body, bodacious. She should model again, because especially for a woman of a certain age, they don't have anybody like her out there in the business. And you were morphing 100 people. She kept everything, like I said, she went from the vanity look to Paul. Can we give him? Wait, go, Paul. Give her the second cover. Uh-oh. Here we go.
Wow.
No. Okay. He's teasing us.
Oh God, he is.
Oh. Bam. There you go. Did you get it?
Wow.
She wanted,
I wasn't expecting that one.
And we were just like total 50s bombshell. What is it? James Mann.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That's amazing. Wow. Beautiful. That's bombshell. That looks amazing. I'm like blown away. I have to say, I was shocked to see these pictures. I was really shocked. But oh my God, you guys outdid yourself. Wow, this looks so good.
Just wanted, we just said, throw it back to the 50s. The tight face, everything.
Oh, sure, they gave me
as if you were in the 50s.
Oh, thanks.
You would have been a bombshell. You would have been on somebody's movie screen.
I think someone said that I missed my calling.
Oh my God. And your laugh. This was like the joy out of you was just, oh, thank you, Electra. The joy out of Deborah, thank you. Courtney.
Thanks,
the joy that just came out of her, man. She was a trooper, guys. Denise, bam, Family's Bombshell. But
thank you.
You just had so many. I wish we could show them more, but you had so many, you did Mary J. Blige. She did Mary J. Blige.
Oh my God. We'll post it later. They'll see
we'll
it.
Post that.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Pam Greer. Here we go. Pull it up. Can you come up closer?
Oh, get out. Y'all hooked me up. We were channeling Pam Greer there.
You went Pam Greer, the 70s. I loved it. Yeah. Paul's Navigate. Look at that. Pow. Look how beautiful. You a
Oh,
you a
yeah.
hottie.
Yeah.
You hottie. They do not look. You are a different woman in each shot. You better, yes, you better come through with your looks.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you guys. That was major. Oh my God.
It was just you know, I know, I see that. I see that. So beautiful.
You know, I'm such a
Look at, okay, if you can see, she put diamond. Look at this. This is the 90s giving us total. Look at you, better work it out, Mama, with the high boots.
I wanted to definitely emulate. I love the girls from Total. I love that look from the 90s. So I was definitely trying to emulate that.
It's a lot in this photo. It is. It's a lot. It's Total. There's some Janet. There's some
it is a lot of Janet. Y'all kept saying I look like Janet.
In this. Some Total from the 90s. Gosh, who else? Even a little yeah, you did that.
Of Toni Braxton. Tony
you
did short hair too, remember?
Yeah, Total and Monifa.
With the short hair.
And a little Monifa Carter.
Oh yeah, Monifa. Yes, Courtney, you're right.
A little Monifa. Yep. It just like you call the moment. The 90s, you locked that shit down. We got show them some more. Paul, we gotta show up. We gotta show up with Paul. You gotta show them. Yes.
Oh, get out! I was channeling my Beyonce moment.
Bring it close, Paul. Bring it closer, Paul. Yes, baby. You better bombshell it, honey. So here is an homage to obviously the girl of the moment,
Beyonce,
Big B,
and
Queen B,
and yes, and a
look
little
at that.
Mariah too. Y'all were saying it would give Mariah vibes.
Yeah. Look at that.
That was fun. Oh, I love that. That looks amazing.
Doesn't it look amazing? Now, remember that shot? Remember this shot? You were like, over here, over there. And I grabbed that one. I said, that. Watch.
Yep, you did. You did.
And Courtney says, I keep seeing Ciara.
Oh, Courtney says, okay, Court. I love you, baby. I'm gonna pay you later on for saying that.
so my love.
You know, you get a text for saying that, Courtney.
Yes, my love. We have those. We're gonna post all of these guys. They go out. Body, yaddy, 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 yaddy. Yes, Johnny. Fire. You gotta listen, y'all. Okay, snap this one up here, because she was giving us body. Yes. You were fantastic on the set, I must say.
Oh, thank you. You guys brought it out of me. You guys made me feel really like a queen for the day. It was amazing. I felt really loved. I was around people who I know really genuinely love me, and so it was really an awesome day. And I really thank you. And I also thank you for believing in me and wanting to do this, because no one's ever wanted me to do a cover or anything remotely like this. So I really thank you, Musa. And I love you.
I love you.
And all the team from Ambassador Magazine.
Thank you so much. I want to skip a moment now.
Chucky.
I want to.
Chucky.
Yep.
And all everybody. Miss Moses, Steffi, Cordell, you guys, Roberto, everybody, you guys turned me out. It was great.
Yes. I just want to say,
Daria, love you always. You guys are like the best.
I know Renee just shouted every one of you out, but I, as an EIC, Ambassador Digital Magazine, want to personally thank everybody that participated in this amazing shoot to honor our good friend, the epic Renee Garnes. So I want to shout out Susan Moses. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Chucky,
Yes.
I adore you, Chucky. You're phenomenal. I want to thank Roberto. You're an amazing photographer. Easy to work with. Beautiful studio. You were incredible.
Roberto, I love you. Roberto.
Gave us the whole day. I mean, literally went into y'all. It went into the next day, pretty much. Courtney, you're my assistant, my BTS. Thank you so much. I also want to thank Daria.
Yes,
incredible. We
Beautifulmom.com.
Right, Daria. Go follow these people. Daria, you're amazing. We saw each other the next day, actually.
Daria.
Steffi's a designer as well as an assistant to Susan, a stylist in her own right.
That kimono,
and one of her pictures.
Remember the kimono I wore? That kimono
Well,
she designed?
we had the photo. You're going to see her kimono. That's a Daria. I'm sorry, a Steffi original. You'll get to see that
Stephanie
tomorrow.
Brady Edwards. Stephanie Brady Edwards.
Stephanie Brady Edwards. So you'll get to see that as well.
Edwards, yes. Follow her too.
It's all there on
amazing.
our site. On our site, so we'll love that. And of course, once again, to my partner in crime, creative director
Paul. Thank you, Paul. We didn't forget you, baby.
Nobody forgets you, Paul.
We see you, boo.
They see
you.
Okay, cutie pie.
Love you, boo.
He's a cutie pie. So cute.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You look amazing, so I'm glad it worked out perfectly. So I'm gonna drop off now.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You guys
he jumps in
like $1 million bucks.
So we want to thank you. One last thing I might want to ask you, just for we're going to sign off. But before we sign off, Renee, give some advice to any young aspiring these times, any young aspiring makeup artists looking to follow in your footsteps. What might you say?
Well, I say, believe in yourself. It's a hard thing sometimes when people are telling you no, or some doors shut, and you can be discouraged. But I feel that if you really, and I know people said this over and over again, but I have to believe it rings true. Believe in yourself. Don't let someone else tell you what you're capable of, because they don't know your life and what you are, what your spirit can do. So if it's something that you really truly believe in and that you want to do, harness that power, block out the haters, and do what you have to do to move forward in your life and conquer and prove it to yourself. You don't have to prove it to anyone else, but prove it to yourself that you can do what you want to do in this life, because we only have one, so we have to live it to the fullest.
And with that said, you've been living your life to the fullest. We are here to honor you tonight. And thank you so much for being a part of Ambassador Digital Magazine.
Thank you.
And I thank everybody for tuning in tonight to a great show. And we send everybody else some love. Send some well wishes to Texas. We send you love and prayers to our friends. Okay. And with that said, I thank you guys for another great show. I thank you. Come back. We'll see you next week. And live your life with passion. Thanks, everybody. See you.
Amen.